Check your Social Security payments. This is a public service announcement. You should be checking your Social Security payments every single month to make sure they're accurate. Because if they're not, and if they overpay you, you might think it's not a huge deal, but this could have disastrous consequences. I'm going to show you exactly what could happen if you're not checking your payments every month and they overpay you. This could be completely catastrophic. I'm also going to show you exactly what to do if they do overpay you so you could avoid having a massive issue, whether you find out immediately or if they've been overpaying you for years and you're just finding out now. I'm going to show you exactly how to handle this to protect yourself. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you like these updates, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate your support. Really quickly, I'm going to show you a clip, an example of what happened to one gentleman who worked his entire life, was overpaid, and then got absolutely screwed by the Social Security Administration. Then I'm going to show you exactly what the rules are regarding if you're overpaid and how much of your Social Security payment they can then claw back to get paid back, and what you can do to protect yourself. But again, if you take anything from this video, please make sure every single month you are checking your benefit to make sure it's accurate just to protect yourself. But check this out.
If you receive Social Security benefits, you may be one of the million people who got a notice that they were overpaid. The agency is required by law to collect overpayments, but people across the nation, including here in Michigan, say this is putting them in impossible situations. 13 on your side's Jeremiah Brown spoke to a local couple who say they're now expected to pay back $84,000.
Dave Wilder says he received a letter from Social Security saying that he was overpaid during the pandemic. Now, 3 years later, he was told he owes $84,000 and that his Social Security payments will be cut off.
I just didn't know what to do.
He didn't eat for almost 2 days. He was so depressed and scared. We're both scared. It's like, what do you do when all of a sudden your income is ripped out from under you?
Rose and Dave Wilder said they only felt sheer panic when they received a letter saying he was overpaid by Social Security, and they expected to be paid back $84,000.
And then I got this letter saying they were going to cut me off entirely.
Dave Wilder has been on disability since 2012. While working part-time, he says he has always worked within the limits and filed everything correctly. He is now on regular Social Security, but was told he was paid $84,000 when he should have been paid $0.
And the lady told me straight out that during COVID, they weren't allowed to send any notifications out for anything or to change anything. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. If I was making too much money, why did they keep paying me every month? You know, so, you know, if it finds that some months I was over and I have to pay that back, I'm fine with that.
They have worked for decades, raised their 2 children, and watched their grandkids grow, but they have now become overwhelmed by uncertainty.
It's day by day now. You know, whether I'll still be hanging on by my fingernails when I turn 70 and have to keep working longer yet to try to get my finances in order.
He has been given forms to fill out to state that it would be a financial hardship to pay back this amount and lose his Social Security. It angers them to also know they are not alone.
Don't leave people hanging. Don't do that to people. You know, send them a letter, 3-4 years later and say, hey, you owe all this money to us,
The Social Security Administration says that every person's situation is unique and every overpayment is handled on a case-by-case basis. If you receive a notice for an overpayment that you disagree with, you can file for an appeal as well as request the agency to waive the collection of the overpayment. In the studio,
Just absolutely terrible, guys. This poor man here worked his entire life. They overpay him. He does everything right. Just picture you did everything right here. You worked your entire life. You were a good person. You followed the rules. And then they say you owe them $84,000 and they're going to withhold your entire Social Security benefit, all of it, which most people completely depend on to survive. This is scary, right? So let's talk about, first of all, again, you should check your payment every month, make sure it's accurate. And for that matter, make sure they're not underpaying you, right? Which is unlikely, but make sure you're checking. If they're overpaying you, don't take it lightly. If your payment changed and you're not sure if that's accurate, potentially it could be going up because of the COLA. But make sure you're checking that and confirming to make sure it's accurate. I'm going to show you exactly what your rights are, what they're allowed to do, how much of your Social Security check they're allowed to keep every single month from you if you do owe them money, and what you can do to actually appeal this if this happens, whether you find out pretty quickly or even years down the road. So stick with me here, guys. I'm going to show you exactly what's best to do. Again, if you like these updates, please subscribe. I share updates when it comes to Social Security changes, just general public service announcements, and updates when it comes to politics and the economy as well. So if you look on your screen here, the Social Security Administration on their website, I have this webpage linked in the description of this video. So if you guys want to save that in case you ever need it going forward, or if you want to share it with someone who you think might find it helpful, essentially on this page here, you'll find out exactly what you'll need to do if you think you've been overpaid. We'll jump into that in just a second, but I want to show you guys exactly what the rules are around if you're overpaid, how much of your check they can keep every month to get paid back. Now, these rules, interestingly enough, have changed a lot over the last 2 years. So up until March of 2024, so up until March of last year, this was incredible, and I was shocked by this. If they overpaid you, completely their fault of their own, not your fault at all, they could keep 100% of your Social Security benefit. They could essentially make you homeless, which is completely ridiculous. Now, this made headlines, and supposedly this stemmed from a 60 Minutes show that came out where they were documenting people that were literally losing their entire benefit because they were overpaid, and then Social Security was keeping their entire check. Well, Joe Biden came out and said, this looks bad, right? This looked really bad for Joe Biden. This had actually been in effect, I think, for the longest time. Because of that, they changed it to where only 10% of your benefit could be held, which is terrible, but not making you homeless most likely, right? So they reduced it from 100% to 10%. That was in March of 2024. In March of 2025, 1 year later, which was a few months ago, Trump and the new administration put that right back up to 100%. And what happened? Seniors gave backlash. I mean, this is insane. You don't want to make seniors homeless because you accidentally overpaid them. The administration, it's their fault, right? So because of that backlash, again, Trump raised it back to 100, which is insane. And let me know in the comments if you agree. You know what? Type a 1 in the comments if you think it's completely insane that they were allowed to keep 100% of your Social Security benefit if they overpaid you. And again, in just a minute, I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do to protect yourself if this ever happens to you. Now, in March, again, of this year, they raised it back up to 10% after having lowered it to 100%. After having lowered it to 10% in 2024, Trump got a lot of backlash. So the very next month, in April, just a couple of months ago, they lowered it to 50%. Okay, so just to recap here, they could keep 100% of your check if they overpaid you up until March of 2024. Biden lowered it to 10% in March of 2024. Trump increased it back to 100, and then in April, they lowered it to 50. So currently, they can keep 50% of your check if they overpay you. So if you do everything right, you don't do anything wrong, you work your whole life, you pay your taxes, you're a law-abiding citizen, they accidentally pay you. It's not your fault at all. It's, you're handling your life. You're not checking every single thing. And, your COLA goes up. You're assuming maybe your check got bigger. No, they can keep half your check. That is the current rule. So let's take a look and see exactly what you can do if this happens to you. And again, you can do this whether you realize it immediately or whether you realize it 3 months, 3 years, 15 years down the road, okay? And again, please like and subscribe if you like this content and these updates, and please share this with anyone who you think might find this helpful. This is the webpage here on the Social Security Administration's website, and this is where you'll need to go if you need to potentially get this fixed. And what you can do really is you can appeal this, and you can make an appeal saying that, hey, this would cause too much hardship for you, and please ask for forgiveness to not be held accountable to pay this back at all. Now, I'm not sure how likely that is to be approved, but there is a process for that to be done. You could also appeal for a smaller monthly payment. So even though 50% is the max, you could appeal to have this be a lower percentage, and I'm sure they don't publicly release the guidelines of that, but I'm sure to some extent it's based off of your income. But this website is linked in the description of this video. So if you want to take a look here, repay overpaid Social Security benefits. Please pay us back if your benefit amount was more than it should have been. Now, they will have sent you a letter in the mail that says you received more money than you should have, in which case, please pay back within 30 days if you're able to. So let's say, for example, they just overpaid you once or twice. You might be able to pay that back immediately if you have the funds, and that's what they're requesting. Now, if they overpaid you for many months or years, obviously you probably won't be able to do that, in which case they're going to want to put you on a payment plan. And this is where you can come to this website to either appeal to not pay back at all if it would cause a massive financial hardship, or apply to have a smaller amount taken out of your check. Now, benefits are overpaid when we can't accurately calculate your benefit amount because your information is either incorrect or incomplete. It can happen if you don't share updates with us about what's changed in your life, like your ability to work, living situation, marital status, or income. Now, we will wait at least 30 days plus an additional 5 days to take into account the shipping time, the mail time, from the date of the overpayment notice before they start collecting the overpayment. So to me, I'm reading that as, since it's 30 days plus an additional 5 days, you'll most likely get an additional Social Security check, which is normal, and the next one would most likely be reduced. Now, if you don't take action, I'm assuming they're going to immediately reduce it by 50%, right? So if you miss the mail, if you procrastinate, most likely a couple of months down the road, you're going to all of a sudden see your payments cut in half. So you want to avoid that. Now they went on to say that if you want to ask for an appeal or reconsideration, you can apply through this either two ways, by calling this phone number on the screen here or by doing it on their website. So if you call the number on your screen here, and again, this is linked in the description of this video, 855-807-8807. Again, if you have trouble reading this on the screen, I'll read it out for you. It's 855-807-8807. If you call this here, it's going to prompt you to appeal for a smaller payment. I'm assuming someone will call you back, and that's how you start the process. Now, you can also appeal through this website here. So if you would like to request to pay in smaller monthly payments, you can use this link here, and you'll see that on the website once you click on that. They want you to fill that out, and you can return that via fax or mail, or actually, no, it's fax or mail to your local Social Security office, right? So you fill that out, send that to your local Social Security office. Now, if you think it was either an error on their end, that's not your fault at all, you can actually ask them to completely waive the repayment. And that's where you go on the second link here. It says ask to waive repayment. Now, again, I'm not sure how likely it is they would waive the entire thing. I'm not sure what their internal process is. Some people speculate, it has to do with the administration. Right now, the administration currently in power is a little more strict with this stuff, obviously, as you can see, as they already raised the maximum they can claw back from 10 to 50%. But that's essentially what you have to do, guys. This is essentially a public service announcement. Make sure you're checking your payments every month. Make sure they're accurate. If they're overpaying you, don't wait. Either call your local office or go on this website. Give them a call here on this 1-800 number. Try and clarify what's happening. If they did overpay you, again, if it's been happening for a couple of months, probably not a big deal. If it's been happening for a long time, it could be a bigger deal, like you saw this gentleman here owes $84,000. But in any case, you have two options here. You can apply to lower that monthly payment from your check to less than 50%. Not sure how flexible they are, but at least you have a chance. Secondly, you can also ask for a waiver to completely waive the repayment if it would cause extreme financial hardship. Essentially, if you're already on such a tight budget that you can't afford to pay it back at all. Again, they are not transparent with the criteria for that. We don't know, what your income level has to be to qualify for a complete waiver. But at least you're educated here, right? You're being reminded that you should be checking your payments every single month. You're being informed on what you need to do. Again, this is the Social Security website, and it is linked in the description of this video. The exact web page you can go to, where you can call this number to clarify, to make sure your payment is or isn't incorrect. You can then talk to them about getting on a smaller repayment plan and even potentially apply to potentially have that repayment waived completely, which they should waive it. I mean, it's their fault, right? Even this gentleman here. I mean, this is ridiculous. This man, look at this guy. I mean, this guy's, I feel bad for this man. I mean, again, didn't do anything wrong. They messed up, and then they went on to completely hold his benefit. Now, I'm assuming, after the rule changed to 50%, now they're only keeping half of his check at most. Hopefully he applied to have that lowered or potentially even waived. It's possible they did. I actually would love to see an update on this. Now, if you guys are just tuning in, I'm going to replay this clip just to give you an example of exactly what can happen if you're overpaid. You're not checking your Social Security check. You get overpaid for years, and then they make you pay it back all at once. I'm going to show you what happens. So, guys, please check your payments every single month. And again, if you like these updates, please like this video. Please hit that little subscribe button so you can keep getting these updates. I try and post every couple of days, whether it's Social Security updates, what's happening in the economy, what's happening in politics, just basically anything happening in this world around us, including things that can affect seniors the most. So please like and subscribe. Thanks so much for being here. And really quickly, before I let you guys go, I'm going to replay this clip here for those of you just joining. Again, really sad story, just showing what can happen if you're overpaid. And first of all, you don't notice it. And second of all, you don't know how to handle it to try and protect yourself. So check this out.
New tonight, if you receive Social Security benefits, you may be one of the million people who got a notice that they were overpaid. The agency is required by law to collect overpayments, but people across the nation, including here in Michigan, say this is putting them in impossible situations. 13 News Side's Jeremiah Brown spoke to a local couple who say they're now expected to pay back $84,000.
Dave Wilder says he received a letter from Social Security saying that he was overpaid during the pandemic. Now, 3 years later, he was told he owes $84,000 and that his Social Security payments will be cut off.
Place, I just didn't know what to do.
He didn't eat for almost 2 days. He was so depressed and scared. We're both scared. It's like, what do you do when all of a sudden your income is ripped out from under you?
Rose and Dave Wilder said they only felt sheer panic when they received a letter saying he was overpaid by Social Security, and they expected to be paid back $84,000.
And then I got this letter saying they were going to cut me off entirely.
Dave Wilder has been on disability since 2012. While working part-time, he says he has always worked within the limits and filed everything correctly. He is now on regular Social Security, but was told he was paid $84,000 when he should have been paid $0.
And the lady told me straight out that during COVID, they weren't allowed to send any notifications out for anything or to change anything. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. If I was making too much money, why did they keep paying me every month? So if it finds that some months I was over and I have to pay that back, I'm fine with that.
They have worked for decades, raised their 2 children, and watched their grandkids grow, but they have now become overwhelmed by uncertainty.
It's day by day now. Whether I'll still be hanging on by my fingernails when I turn 70 and have to keep working longer yet to try to get my finances in order.
He has been given forms to fill out to state that it would be a financial hardship to pay back this amount and lose his Social Security. It angers them to also know they are not alone.
I don't leave people hanging. Don't do that to people. Send them a letter, 3-4 years later and say, hey, you owe all this money to us,
The Social Security Administration says that every person's situation is unique and every overpayment is handled on a case-by-case basis. If you receive a notice for an overpayment that you disagree with, you can file for an appeal as well as request the agency.
Guys, absolutely terrible. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you like these updates. Hate to see these stories. I hope this man was taken care of, and I hope he found the knowledge that we shared in this video to hopefully protect himself. Again, we covered the fact that you should be checking your payments every single month to make sure they're accurate. If they're overpaying you, we showed you exactly where to go. The Social Security's webpage for that is linked in the description of this video. So please save that for future reference in case you ever need it or someone you know needs it. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Appreciate your support. Again, please like and subscribe. We'll continue to update you when it comes to Social Security benefits and just general news that's happening when it comes to politics and the economy. So again, thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you on the next video.